I'm here to talk again about why I love hypnosis and why should you care. But the whole reason I'm here today is because I did that short video on lasers and pro health. So getting to a healthy place before you get into disease. Okay, so we were getting quite a few questions about the program, how it works, and also about the lasers. So first of all, I think might have to do a little chat about the lasers first so you can understand that better. And I'm showing you a different one today. It's this one. And this one is the same. The other one had diodes in it that were for red, infrared, and violet, which means that the red is topical and that the infrared addresses things deeper in the bone structure, that kind of thing. And then the violet goes all the way to cellular memory. So this one is entirely violet, and that's the difference between the two. So it depends on what you're working on. Now, what do we do in hypnosis? We go and we want to erase cellular memory so we can get it to go back, and because it regenerates constantly, the cells. The trouble is they always pick up the old cell and go from there. So what we're doing with hypnosis, this is easy to understand, is that with hypnosis, the mind can actually reprogram. When you allow all blockages and things that are, limiting beliefs, etc., I can actually do that. And physically, this is what this does also. So between the two, we are changing the cellular memory and allowing you to get healthier. Did I miss anything on that, Martin?
Not yet.
Not yet. He's hovering off to the side in case I need his help. And I will, because he's very articulate. And, I'm a big picture person. So I get all the stuff, I know it in this, but if I want to bring it down to a level to explain it, Martin's much better at that. So, Martin, where am I going now? Okay, maybe I'll go. I've always loved Bruce Lipton. When he first came out with his first book, Biology of Belief, I remember laying in bed listening to Coast with Art Bell in that days. And I was interested in all that kind of stuff. And I sat up straight in bed and I said, this is what I do with hypnosis. What he's talking about, I do with hypnosis. And so I'm going to let Martin, this is where I'm going to pull him in. Martin, come in and talk to them a little bit about this, how Bruce Lipton puts it.
I'm sure most people surely have heard of Bruce Lipton and know a bit about him. If not, it's Biology of Belief. And there's lots of sort of Cole's notes, abbreviations of what they're doing. But what he said, he's a developmental biologist. He's a doctor. And he's studying genetics and cells and stuff. And the big view is common view out there is that genetics is everything. And as usual, in anything like common view in science, it's wrong. It's always discovered it's wrong later. Coffee's
changes every 10 years at least.
Anyway, the concept of you get your genetics from your parents and whatever, and our environment, the genes are created, and then that's it. Kind of got it. You're done. Yeah. So if you have these genes, you're going to get this cancer. If you have these genes, you're going to get dementia, etc. Totally wrong, of course.
And somewhat dangerous idea.
Well, most of these wrong ideas are dangerous. So what he discovered was that the thing that does the heavy lifting in the body, the thing that makes the changes is the cell, as I was saying about cellular memory and cells. Cells are relatively intelligent, but they actually can change genes. Genes don't do anything. They just sit there until a cell decides, I need a protein. And so it goes to the gene and says, gene, I need this protein, and make the protein. Now, there's only, 25,000 genes in our bodies. And slugs have almost as much as that. So how come we get so much variation is because the cells can make variations on any given, gene. They can make a variety. They can say, I just need a protein this big and just that big. I know you have a blueprint for this, but I just want this part. Yeah. And then it goes to that, and the DNA performs all its work and becomes RNA, and then you have a new protein. But what that means is, if the cells are interacting, how do they get messages? They interact with their environment. Their environment being your body.
Yeah.
So what he discovered was there's, let's say, three things that can cause disorder: toxins, trauma, and thought. And thought is 99% of the challenge
Yes,
there.
and that's why hypnosis, right?
Because if you have stress in the body, then the stress gets into the bloodstream. It's a chemical. Because as chemicals, the cells read it and go, oh my God, time to prepare. So let's shut down, let's bring up the immune system. I'll shut down the immune system, do all the work we need to do, and put the immune system over here and do this and do that. And you get disorder. So then the next thought was, well, we will just think positive thoughts and it'll all be wonderful. But where do positive thoughts come from? The conscious, which Bruce Lipton says is 5% of your being. And there's, and he talks about subconscious, but then there's, of course, is going to the higher mind, which will, the subconscious has no moral stance on anything. He just sits there and runs programs, just like Windows does.
And it's like a data bank. So it said this worked before, I'm going to pop that out again.
But what the deep state hypnosis will do, using what the higher mind seems to, by just from results, have an inherent desire to produce optimal outcomes for that body. So what you're doing with proactive health is kind of getting the conscious out of the way, allowing the higher mind to work and reprogram the subconscious that sits there and lets anything happen if the conscious allows it.
Yeah, because the conscious can actually interfere with its limiting belief. So if you start to understand that and you're open just to possibility that could be true, you don't have to believe it, just the possibility, that leaves us the thing to get your mind to do that work for you. And
the interesting thing also that this is a wild laser, our guest this today, is that interesting thing also Bruce Lipton says is that's why placebos are so powerful, and in fact are more powerful than any other medicine out there. And why doesn't the medical community embrace it? And then he says, I didn't say this, he says, well, because it's free. And the industry is not interested in free. If they could charge for it, it would be everywhere.
Yeah.
And the placebo, of course, being you believe this to be true. That's why it's called the biology of belief, his book.
If the placebo works so well, you know why the nocebo works just as well. And what's the difference? Placebo is that you take something and you have belief in a positive way that it will help you. And the nocebo, on the other hand, is just the same, but it's stuff that you believe it won't help you, or you don't even notice, and it goes by that critical factor in our conscious and creates a negative. All the self-talk you do, all that, those are all could be placebos or nocebos.
Or your favorite, the pictures on a cigarette packet.
Yes, I really hate those. I would like you to program yourself to reject that, please. Purpose. Reject those things if you smoke.
Because what it's saying is, if you smoke, you're going to get this. And it's
well
compounded and compounded.
Every cigarette package you pick up, every picture you look at is confirming that thought in your mind.
And I don't really like the cigarette companies any more than we like the drug companies, but it's a bad message.
It's a very bad message.
Again, unintended consequences of trying to do something.
Maybe it was a good intention to do that, and it's sort of to put you off. It won't work if you're not put off intentionally, unless you choose to quit and reject that, because now you've quit, so that's not going to affect you the same way, because that's okay. I just need you to reject it. There's, hello, Majero, nice to see you there. Anyway, if you do rejecting that stuff, it's helpful. It's helpful if you watch what your thinking is and reject the ones you don't, and just restate them on purpose. Soon your mind will understand that you want to talk in positive language.
And so, of course, this has absolutely nothing to do
totally
with the
sidetracked from
program,
the pro health.
It's all the same basis of the biggest challenge to your health and well-being is your thoughts.
Yes, I agree with the news is doing the same thing.
Yes.
Totally true.
Well, news is hypnosis, right?
Yes, everything. Yeah.
It's just what Inez does with a lot of people is dehypnotize them from the thought processes they've been fed.
That's pretty well what hypnotists do.
But anyway, back to Pro Health.
Yes.
And Bruce Lipton, check it. If you haven't, have a look. He gets into quite depth, but he has a good website where he kind of narrates, puts it into pieces just to explain to people.
Yeah.
And I believe he may be on your radio show in April.
Yes, he will. I'm pretty happy about that.
But it's the concept of the biggest thing to well-being is thought. So what does hypnosis do? Well, actually, sorry, not thought, but emotions. It's the emotions. And what is hypnosis? It lives in the land of emotions.
as soon as you're in any emotion, you're in a natural state of hypnosis anyway. All we're doing is formalizing it to help you in the right place. You have to turn it on, let them see what it is, because the whole thing about the lasers, getting back to what the questions were about, is that they are cold lasers.
Don't look. I'm violeting her.
It's
I'm making
violet.
it purple.
Yeah, it's great. See that? Yeah, and the interesting thing, if you had the probe, can you work a probe in?
Yes, and this is nothing rude. It's quite legit.
Us aliens are going to have a probe. But I'm going to show you something.
Attaches.
Is it on? Okay.
No, I just turned it off. But we'll turn it on. Hold on.
That would be good.
Very complicated. You need to put it like this.
Okay, see that? Now, I don't know if you can see that real good. It covers a lot. Where the red would cover topical.
No, you can't see it.
Yeah, the red covers topical. The other one would be a little deeper. And this one goes right into the cells.
Actually, the infrared probe, you can see it through your finger.
Yeah.
But this one also feels really good.
It's because they have to put a light there because the violet is so deep. It doesn't really have. You don't really see it.
It's actually fake. It's nothing. It's just the light. But the laser.
Yeah, the laser itself you can see.
Because that what do you call it?
Frequency
is not visible.
So when you're using that, ideally, it sits where you are working. But also with hypnosis, we don't need to do that. We can actually, I do put it on my clients and put them on here, which is a good place to do, in the thymus area. And then the other one, I just put anywhere else that would work, even because it will work through the back. So the adrenal area is the best. So I put it somewhere around the belly button usually.
And the Proactive Health Program does all that. And what was it you were offering in your foolishness a little while ago?
I think it was your foolishness,
okay.
But what's beside the point is that we, if you choose to ever buy one of these lasers, because remember I told you before, they are in conjunction, they're both doing real things. So people say, oh, that's not a real thing, hypnosis, it's just that. So that's a real thing, in my opinion. And we know that it works really well. And something for this, because this is more supposedly scientific, some people will accept it more. But it isn't just a placebo, it really does the work.
Because again, what a body is the healing machine. It's not the drugs, it's not the hypnosis, it's the body that does the healing.
But imagine that, even if it was only a placebo, they're the most incredible things, and like Bruce Lipton says, the best effect on the body.
But what this does is put extra energy into your body.
Yeah,
pure
it's
energy,
all about photons and being accepted.
Those things.
See, I do know something.
Quantum. It's all quantum.
Quantum stuff, yeah. And Martin's going to post some stuff under here, right, about Paul Weisbart, the guy who's making these, explaining these a little more.
Inez did a great show with him in January, second week in January, I think, on Hypnosis Everywhere. And he was supposed to come on and talk about his lasers, and he talked the whole time about still point, which is, he loves that still point. And
still point is just a form of
hypnosis.
His form of hypnosis, right? And I think it's awesome. And he gave so much away about still point there that he barely mentioned the lasers. But he did explain. We got him to do some explanations.
I will show you under this video. There's a link to a video of him, because he is excited about lasers, talking about them, and also a proactive health session that you do.
So
if you buy one of these lasers, when you buy one of those lasers, mention Voice America because you get a 15% discount, but also mention Inez because then you will get a free, she'll do a session with you, a proactive health session. And the thing about the proactive health session, the way she does it is you'll then be able to do it for yourself afterwards.
Yep, that's the gift. You'll be able to do yours in self-hypnosis or still point, which way you prefer.
I think that's just good. The answer to some of the questions we've been getting, but check out Bruce Lipton if you want some kind of solid medical evidence-based stuff, and he will be talking to you later
in April.
But any more questions, send them to Nez because I'll ignore them.
Yeah, and no, he'll tell me they're there if I miss them, and we will address it again on video or email, because then we can. Well, not so much an email. It gets too difficult to address everybody separately by now. I'm sorry, I only have a certain amount of time. And if I put it on video, at least you can access it. I might email you to say access to this or whatever, if you ask me by email.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Amsterdam. We're coming to
Okay,
Amsterdam soon. Not
Yes.
close.
Oh, sort of. Okay. Well, thanks very much. And if you have any more questions about that, and thanks Shirley for being here, and
Hope you're well and
Sarah,
thriving.
all of you. It's really nice. And this will replay, of course. But if you need anything, you go to Hypnosis Everywhere and look at those. There's lots of learning to do there. And also just email me if you need something, and I'll tell you if I make a video of it. I'll respond. Okay. Thanks very much.
Bye.
And goodbye, Majero. Love you. Bye very much.
Bye very much.
Yeah, bye very much. Who knows?